Welcome back as we continue the conversation around the CBSN original documentary, Speaking Frankly, Porn. Madita Oeming is a porn scholar who teaches a class on pornography studies in Berlin. So I spoke with Madita about how she believes modern pornography is dealing with some tough stigmas and how, in many ways, it has given a platform for sexual positivity and expression. How has the internet changed the conversation about pornography?
The internet basically changed everything about pornography. It really depends whose perspective you take on that question. So among many of the producers, for example, there is this saying that the internet killed porn, because as much as the internet spread pornography and more millions of people are consuming it, but very few people are actually paying for it. On the other hand, for a lot of performers, for example, the internet offers many new ways of monetizing porn and of uploading their own content, thereby also controlling their own content. So nowadays, many performers make the biggest share of their income through OnlyFans, Snapchat, or their own Pornhub account and own uploads.
And because the internet has made porn cheap and plentiful, it also means that there are fewer barriers to access. And so we have now younger and younger people being able to access porn. How concerned should we be?
I think we should be concerned. I think, however, that we're drawing the wrong conclusions. I think what we should be really concerned about is the absolute lack of comprehensive sex education in the US, but also here in Europe. That, I think, is the actual problem, because that means that a lot of young people turn to porn as sex education. And porn was never meant to be sex education. It's fun and fiction and fantasy, but I don't think that it's of any help to demonize or censor or come up with strict laws about pornography, but that we need to work on the kind of sex education that is available to young people.
You write that the judgment and scrutiny over the years had evolved, and the criticism began to land at the feet of the porn creators. Why do you think that's happening?
This is something I've been witnessing in public discourse, that all the blame is on porn as a medium and an industry, and not on how the people consume it or work with it. And I think that's also a mistake, because this is where we should start and where we should start the conversation. And creating shame around watching porn, which of course is still very much alive, is, I think, dangerous, because it stops people from exploring their sexual fantasies, their needs, and also just sex in and of itself. And I think it's especially a problem when we speak about women, for who it is still much more shameful, actually, or more stigmatized and less normalized to watch porn.
So you think porn can be empowering for women?
I absolutely think it can, yes, on many different levels. I think producing porn can be empowering, because you take control of your own body, of your own sexuality by expressing it in front of a camera. It can also be a way of overcoming trauma for a lot of women. It can have a healing function, again, something we forget. And then watching pornography can be empowering, also just in terms of being kinder with your own body, because you see a variety of different bodies in porn, a much larger diversity actually in bodies than you see in mainstream media. So it can help embrace your own body and the way it looks. And especially for queer people, it can be very empowering, because they don't see themselves represented in mainstream media at all, or at least not enough, and they don't see their sexuality being represented. And seeing yourself on screen being desired and also desiring without shame is very empowering.
You know, I know you talked about pornography having sort of different body types on display now, modern pornography. But often what we see are very thin women, women with no hair at all on their bodies. I'm wondering if there's a negative impact of sort of seeing this image over and over and over again, depicting the height of sexuality.
Not at all, no, I don't think so. And I think this is one of the, what I would call porn myths. So we think that this is what you see in porn, but it's absolutely not what you see in porn. And people spreading those porn myths are usually those who haven't seen porn, who have seen 2 porn movies, and this is what they use to make an opinion about it. So as I said, there is such a diversity of bodies in porn today. Even if you go through like the top 50 porn stars, you'll see that some of them have shaved heads, but actually body hair in other areas. You can see that they have tattoos, that they have very small breasts or natural breasts. So it's not stuck in this 80s image of the porn star with the giant enhanced breasts and the very fake tanned body and so on. It's a different kind of body type that you find in porn today, and especially when it comes to labiaplasty, for example, which is a trend in the US, and it's usually blamed on the porn industry and the vulvas that you see there. But it's absolutely not true, because it's the only place where women can actually see their genitals and see other women's genitals and see that they come in all shapes and colors and sizes and see that they are normal the way they are.
I want to ask you about a paper that you wrote. It's called Sexploitation Television. It's about the trend of creating pornography that is inspired by popular American TV shows, sort of parodies. What does that say about the relationship between pornography and culture?
That's an interesting question. I think the phenomenon of porn parodies is a very interesting one, because it's a close connection to mainstream media, and it almost reads like a comment on mainstream media. It sometimes seems that in a Hollywood movie, in your classic romantic comedy, sex is ever present and it's always somehow suggested, but we never get to really see it. This is also why fan fiction has become so huge, because viewers or readers of novels, they really want this sex to happen between characters, so they just create their own stories of what happens in between the cuts that we have in mainstream media. And porn parodies do something similar. They take this desire to see these characters engage in actual sex and watch them do it and just produce it.
So what I'm getting from you is, if we talk about porn more, we'll fear it less.
Yes, 100% agreed. And I do think the discourse around porn is very much panic-driven, and I don't think that's ever a useful way to talk about anything, because it's very emotional and not rational.
Madita, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching the CBSN original, Speaking Frankly Porn. I'm Anne-Marie Green. For more on this or any of our other documentaries in our Speaking Frankly series, you can visit cbsnews.com/originals. This is CBSN, CBS News, always on.